I stood by him and trusted his words because I could see the truth in what he shared and the opportunities he presented. For those who remember the days when hip-hop was more than just fleeting viral clips or catchy sound bites, when it was raw, authentic stories coming directly from the artists themselves. You understand the frustration of losing access to some of the most vital interviews that simply disappeared over time. Over the years, countless hip-hop interviews and stories have vanished without a trace. Videos removed from YouTube, recordings deleted, entire discussions wiped away as if they never existed. Whenever artists begin to reveal the hidden power struggles within the music world, their voices often get muted quickly. This is precisely what happened to some of the most crucial interviews with DMX and Mobb Deep's Prodigy. Both artists openly spoke about the industry's darker side, naming influential figures like Diddy and Jay Z, while also shedding light on the true puppet masters pulling the strings behind the scenes. Moving forward, just like many before them, a lot of the interviews where Prodigy and DMX spoke out have been wiped from the internet and erased from public memory. Why? Because the truths they revealed threatened the very people running the show. DMX hinted in his interviews about an industry built on control and manipulation, where certain moguls keep artists firmly under their thumb. Both Diddy and Jay Z's names surface repeatedly in these conversations. Prodigy, who never shied away from speaking out, often described a powerful network of people pulling strings, not just in music and entertainment, but across society as a whole. While much of the footage where they spoke about this has mysteriously vanished, some clips have managed to survive. So let's unpack what DMX and Prodigy were really warning us about, and why some might want to keep it quiet. Many dismiss this as conspiracy theory, saying things like, "You watch too many movies." But what I learned felt very real. Take DMX's 2007 appearance on HBO's Def Poetry Jam, where he delivered his raw, unfiltered poem called The Industry. It was a defining moment. X did not hold back as he exposed the harsh realities of the music business, the pressure on artists to sell out or conform just to stay afloat. The industry, he said, isn't about talent anymore. He said, the industry is real dying to get in. The industry just to find they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. The industry is trying to control the way you MC. They want you to dress like this and talk like that. But I'm going to dress like this and talk with the bat. DMX was calling out an industry obsessed with control, controlling style, voice, and creativity, leaving little room for true individuality. And what he offered me. ChatGPT said, the industry has a way of stripping your words of meaning, making you feel unheard, as if your voice does not matter. But don't be fooled into thinking it's all bluff. The industry revolves around money and hate, and if you do not have a strong mind, it will try to take everything from you. It will wear you down. It is only a matter of time. The industry is like vultures circling, waiting for something to devour. But me, I am unleashing my strength, my beast within. The industry, it can stay buried in the dirt, mess with the wrong person in this business, and you will get hurt. I am not just an industry artist. I am an artist who happens to exist inside. The industry. The industry demands artists, dead or alive, to sell their souls just to survive. It doesn't care about you. But ironically, it cannot make a dime without you. DMX wasn't just calling out shady contracts or label conflicts. He saw it all as part of a larger spiritual battle happening behind the scenes. He said, "Whenever I went through something, it brought me closer to God, and I stayed into something. Now I'm closer to God, but being closer is hard. The attacks get stronger. They become much harder to fight, and they last longer. That struggle, the push and pull of joy and pain, darkness and light, sun and rain, gave him perspective. It became something to gain from, teaching him to seek the good and the bad, not just the sunshine." In his music and interviews, DMX often spoke about wrestling with the devil, suggesting some powerful industry figures were linked to dark forces, pushing artists to sell their souls. One of the most striking moments came in 2013, when DMX appeared on the Dr. Phil show and revealed he had not one, but 3 encounters with the devil. He explained that truly understanding the world means seeing both sides and making your own choices. He said, "You've had a song on every album, a conversation. With God, you've had a prayer, and I think you've had the devil. 3 conversations with the devil. Why with the devil? To make a fair decision, I think you have to be aware of both sides. He added, I was approached, so of course I had a conversation. But that doesn't mean I rode with him or believed him. I was just able to recognize him by what he said to me and what he offered me. People say, oh, now I know who you are. That's why I stopped talking to him. I've dropped 7 albums, but he's only on 3. But DMX had spoken about crossing paths with the devil long before that. In a 2009 jailhouse interview while serving time in Arizona, he revealed that he met the devil in what he called God's country. Though he never named names, it was clear the experience shook him deeply. So much so that he vowed never to return there again. He said, I first came to Arizona, man. One morning around 6, coming from the studio, I pulled over on the highway just to watch the sunrise, and that's when I fell in love with Arizona. I said, this has to be God's country, because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then he added, but then I met the devil in God's country. It's not so much who the devil is, it's what he does. The devil acts through people, but you can't call one person the devil. No one person has that much power. DMX explained how those hardships made him realize the place was truly God's country, because he met the devil there. If I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't have known I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles he put in my way. And by overcoming those, I realized this is God's country because he helped me through all of it. When asked if he would ever go back, DMX was firm. When I'm done here, I'm not looking back. I'm not coming back. Not for a show, not for a visit, not even driving through the states. If I'm on a plane, I'd rather fly around than over. So, what did DMX really mean by meeting the devil in Arizona? Was it metaphor, or was he alluding to something real? Perhaps he encountered someone offering a deal, the kind with strings attached, forcing him to choose between selling out or standing strong. Remember, DMX did not hold back naming names over the years. Jay Z, Diddy, and label executives like LA Reid were all called out. These were some of the biggest power players in the industry, untouchable figures. In one old interview, DMX openly accused Diddy of exploiting his artists and hinted at dark dealings behind the scenes at Bad Boy Records. Some fans interpret this as calling out financial exploitation, but others take it more literally, especially given the serious allegations that have surfaced against Diddy in recent years. Man, honestly, I'm just glad I never took that bait. And DMX wasn't holding back on this stuff. He talked about people in the industry who try to pull you in with fancy dinners and offers, all to get control over your music. And come on, there's no way he wasn't talking about Diddy. The first thing that popped into my mind was when 50 Cent said Diddy tried to take him shopping. That move was classic Diddy. Now, about Jay Z, after he became president of Def Jam in 2004, DMX claimed Jay started blocking the release of his 6th album, Year of the Dog, again. According to X, Jay wasn't ready to retire and saw DMX as competition that needed to be pushed out of the way. DMX said, I had the crazy track record with Def Jam. Everything was smooth. Then I started working on the 6th album, and Jay got the president spot. When he first called me, he was cool. Yo, dog, you good? Finish the album, shoot the video. Then, out of nowhere, it all changed. He went on, they said, we don't know what happened. What do you mean you don't know? How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, and then just block it? It didn't make sense. DMX felt like the whole industry game shifted when Jay Z stepped into power. It became about protecting the throne, and that meant pushing artists like him aside. The crack epidemic was brutal, no doubt, but back then, at least rappers were shining a light on the harsh reality of becoming a fiend. It was a painful spotlight, especially tough on women, but some say that awareness helped shift the course of that crisis. Now, with the opioid and lean culture spreading, it feels like the game's glorifying something far more dangerous, making it almost trendy to be into syrup and pills. That's the real threat facing our communities today. So why would anyone sign an artist who promotes that kind of lifestyle? The answer's complicated. When asked if it's about talent or issues, the response was talent, but also a refusal to give up on people. It's a tricky balance between being genuine and running a business that feeds families. That's where accusations of opportunism come in. Then the conversation turned to Dame Dash. Someone disowned in the discussion, with the speaker pretending not to know him at all, despite their shared history and money made together. It felt like distancing for the sake of image, even though the ties are obvious. Now, here's a twist. The same person dismissed Dame Dash is Lear Cohen, who Jay Z calls his mentor in his memoir Decoded. Lear's a heavyweight in the industry, but surrounded by controversy. Some whisper he could even be a CIA plant, using hip-hop influence to push hidden agendas. Why? Because Lear's own stories have been suspicious. In a 2023 Vlad TV interview, he initially claimed his mom was just a housewife, but later accidentally revealed she worked for the Israeli government. That slip only fueled the conspiracy talk and raised questions about what's really going on behind the scenes in the industry's power circles. Wow, that background is really eye-opening. Growing up with incredible parents, a psychiatrist dad leading at Kaiser Permanente, and a mom working for the Israeli government gives a whole new perspective on Lear Cohen's story. Spending his early years in Israel, then working at Bank Leumi during a pivotal time with Persian Jews immigrating to Beverly Hills, counting stacks of cash but feeling miserable doing it. It's like the perfect mix of privilege and disillusionment. Even with a college degree, he found himself stuck in a job he hated, all thanks to his mom's influence. And then there's the whole Jay Z connection. The whispers about Jay Z possibly being an informant, tied to government agencies, get even more intense when you look at Desiree Perez, his right-hand woman and president of Roc Nation. She's the one really holding the power there, and a lot of people believe it's because of her deep ties not just to Jay Z, but potentially to shady networks, even the cartel. Some say she's the one who knows how to make the skeletons disappear behind the scenes. And speaking of disrespect, we can't forget how Lear Cohen treated DMX after his tragic death in 2021 from a suspected overdose. The man who played such a big role in the industry, but couldn't show respect to someone like X, who exposed so much truth about the dark side of the business. It all just adds to the complicated, shadowy web behind the music industry's glossy surface. Man, that Leia Cohen quote calling DMX a gremlin after he died? That is cold, disrespectful on a whole other level. Like he was blaming X for his own downfall instead of showing any compassion. Saying his death is no surprise is just heartless, especially knowing all the battles DMX fought throughout his life. Then you have Irv Gotti spilling the real tea, that Leia and Jay Z laughed at DMX when he was trying to get him signed. That's wild. Imagine Jay dismissing X by saying, "You think he's better than me?" And even Dame Dash calling him depressing. But Irv was the one who saw X's potential early on, even though everyone else doubted him. Irv's story, about pushing X's music and using that gritty, get-at-me-dog vibe to bring hip-hop back to the streets. That was a game changer. No more flashy suits, no more polished radio sounds. X was real, raw, and he led that movement. I love how Irv described putting up that triangle with a 5 on the wall, a symbol for their crew, and how everyone else laughed, but eventually, they all got behind the vision. The fact that Irv would tell Leia and the team to shut up and get behind me shows the tension behind the scenes, but also the passion Irv had for making DMX a star despite the haters. And yeah, bringing up Prodigy is so relevant. Prodigy wasn't shy about warning people about the Illuminati and those powerful secret networks controlling the industry. It's like a whole shadow world where people who try to expose or challenge the system often end up dying suspiciously, or getting silenced. The whole story of DMX, Jay Z, Leia, and the bigger industry drama feels like a dark saga, full of betrayal, power struggles, and the cost of standing up to those forces. It makes you wonder how many more stories like this are hidden beneath the surface. Yeah, a lot of people brush off the word Illuminati, like it's just some wild conspiracy theory. But Prodigy was serious. He said the truth behind it is way darker than most realize. He wasn't scared to speak out about what he saw happening behind the scenes, even if it meant going against powerful forces. He talked about ritualistic stuff, about sick, twisted people like Jeffrey Dahmer, and hinted that some of the industry's moves were influenced by deeper, disturbing agendas. The beef between Prodigy and Jay Z was no joke either. It went way back to the late 90s and early 2000s, when New York rap was all about rivalries and tension. Jay Z said later they made peace before Prodigy died, but things got intense when a letter Prodigy wrote from jail leaked online. Most big sites scrubbed it, but if you hunt through older blogs and forums, you can still find it. In that letter, Prodigy dropped some heavy truths, saying Jay Z knows who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes, but instead of exposing them, he sided with those powers for his own benefit. Prodigy called out government, religion, politics, financial systems like the Federal Reserve and IRS, saying they're all part of the big lie people live by. He accused Jay Z of hiding this truth from the black community and promoting a lifestyle tied to the beast, basically selling out for fame and money. Prodigy promised he would keep fighting against Jay Z, the Illuminati, and all evil forces until my lights are put out. He said he feared nothing because the truth had freed him from what he called Illuminati mental enslavement, and he felt empowered by God and the universe. That kind of courage and conviction is rare, especially when the stakes are that high. It really puts things into perspective, that some artists aren't just fighting for charts or fame, but are caught in a much bigger war between truth and control. Prodigy's words still echo loud as a warning about what goes on behind the scenes in the music world and beyond. Absolutely, that whole situation around Prodigy's death is super suspicious. Dropping Hegelian dialectic, the Book of Revelation, just months before he passed was like his final bold move to shine light on those hidden forces. And the fact that he was reportedly working on a whole musical to expose these secret societies only adds to the mystery. He was clearly gearing up to tell a bigger story. Then the official cause of death being choking on a boiled egg in a hospital? That sounds almost too bizarre to believe. Especially given that Prodigy had sickle cell disease, people naturally assumed complications from that. But choking on an egg? In a medical facility with professionals watching? That doesn't add up. It's no surprise his family sued the hospital, accusing them of neglecting his care and ignoring crucial oxygen monitoring. The way the story was handled only fuels the doubts among fans. Prodigy was speaking truth to power in a way that made people uncomfortable, calling out names like Jay Z and Diddy and exposing dark agendas. It's easy to see why many believe he was silenced for going too deep and exposing secrets the elite wanted to keep hidden. When you put that alongside DMX's story, both men who spoke openly about the industry's dark sides and then faced tragic ends, it definitely makes you question what's really going on behind the scenes. Were they casualties of speaking out? It's a chilling thought, but one that resonates with a lot of people who feel there's a hidden war between truth tellers